Hello friends. The video that you are about to see was filmed almost exactly 1 year ago, and it was a very special trip to our very favorite place. Why we didn't get it edited sooner is a mystery, but please enjoy a very memorable trip for our family to my favorite place on the entire planet, Mackinac Island. So come along with us. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Misty Show. Today's video is a travel vlog, and I am heading to my favorite place in the entire world, and that is Mackinac Island. So I am on the docks of the Mackinac Island Ferry, which used to be the Starline Ferry, and over there in the distance on the horizon you can sort of see Mackinac Island. It's a little bit hazy this morning, but we are getting ready to get on the ferry. We are taking the 8:30 ferry ride over. It is October 2nd. It is unusually warm, so I'm really excited to be able to see the fall colors on the island, as well as just kind of being able to not be bundled up so much. So we have our tickets. We're just waiting to get on the ferry to go over to Mackinac Island. And as we wait, we can see the mighty Mac in the distance. Do you see it? Right there, the very tops of the Mackinac Bridge, the mighty Mac. So that is an icon here in Mackinac City as well. It takes you over to the Upper Peninsula, which we will be doing tomorrow. And I'm so excited. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Get me on the ferry, sir. One thing that you can do if you're wanting to come over to the island is you can get your tickets in advance online, and you get a little bit of a discounted rate. You can go to mackinawferry.com and check out the rates. We did get a little bit of a discounted rate, so I do highly recommend doing that. I think it saves you about $9 a person, which can get you a couple blocks of fudge on the island. So I highly recommend doing that. We're gonna do a lot of things today. I'm really excited. All right, so we're waiting to board the ferry. And I don't know if you can see, you probably can't. I'm gonna see if I can zoom in. If you can see, well, you can't even see it. It's just not gonna focus. But I can see the Grand Hotel from my vantage point. Smell the lake air. All right, we're on the boat. We're sitting on the tippy top. It is very wet. Mark is drying off the seats, but we are on our way over there. We're on our way. We got a rooster tail boat, so we get a jet boat. There is the mighty Mac in the distance, right there. It's a beautiful morning. We have arrived on the island. This is Main Street. It's still, like I said, this is October 2nd. Look at the flowers, are still beautiful. But oh, can you smell it, Emma? You can smell the horse poop and the fudge. It brings me back to my childhood. But this is Main Street. And oh my goodness, the colors on the trees. So this is gonna be an amazing day here on Mackinac Island. Oh, I can't wait. So we're standing in front of the carriage tour. Now what we did and what you can do is when you're booking your ferry ticket, there's a package that you can get, so you can combine your ferry ride with the carriage tour, and you can save a little bit of money. In the fall when you come, you don't have to necessarily book a time. They leave about every 20 minutes. They just fired off, I think, well, maybe that wasn't the can. 9:30 cannon just went off, but they you don't have to like book a time necessarily. So it's one of the benefits about coming to the island off season. Just It's so amazing, and I cannot wait to get up into the middle of the island and see all of the trees and all of the colors. Here every year as a child. My fondest childhood memories are right here on this island, and I've never been in the fall. So after being here, my next bucket list would be to come here in the winter. You can see up here, that is the fort. We'll be going up to the fort later. There is an island you can, or there's a restaurant up there too. You can kind of see those yellow and white striped awnings. Though that is a Grand Hotel restaurant up there, but this is Market Street. There's the post office right there. Look at how beautiful the flowers still are. That's so pretty. The begonias are all still huge. So some of the history of Mackinac Island. So Mackinac Island it's like colonial times. Well, even before colonial times, the Shinneback tribe, they named this place the land of the Great Turtle, home of the Great Turtle. And the French kind of translated that into Michilimackinac. And over time, Michilimackinac, that was a lot of things to say. And as tourism developed, they kind of changed it to Mackinac. And you can see, sometimes you'll see it spelled with an AW and an AC. It's pronounced Mackinac, even if you see it with the C, it's not Mackinac. Some people will still call it Mackinac, but it's actually pronounced Mackinac. Either way, it is spelled. It's just the French version, the French influence. This was very much a colonial village, and we had a lot of battles between the French settlers and the British colonists during the time of like the 1812s and the colonial period. So these are some of the carriages that we will be going on. We're going to be going on these carriage rides, so we'll be able to go throughout the island and see some of the sights. But that sound, there's no cars on this island. None. There are no cars allowed. You can't even have a motorized bicycle on this island. It is strictly horse and buggy and carriage and bicycle. And the road that goes around the island is actually a state highway. So you have to follow the rules of the road because it's a state highway. Anyway, we just got some coffee here at Lucky Bean here on Mackinac Island. Just waiting for it to be made, and then we're gonna go continue on our adventures. So we got the Lucky Bean coffee here on the island. I got the ginger snap.
From the owner. Hi.
Oh, you're the owner? Oh, yay!
I didn't know
So,
YouTube.
yeah, so this is, oh, you're the owner. So this is the Lucky Bean on, don't go to Starbucks. No, come here. Look how beautiful. This is a ginger snap coffee. So we're going to enjoy this while we're on our buggy ride. One neat thing that you can do here at the post office is to get a postcard, and then you can have it postmarked and send it to yourself as a little souvenir. So we're going to do that today too. So we are waiting to get on our carriage to take our tour around the island. So we were having a little bit of a discussion, and I was wrong, and the rest of my family were correct. So earlier when I was telling you there's a difference between Mackinac with an AW and an AC, one of the things that they did to make it easier for the postal carriers is Mackinac with the AC, it's still pronounced Mackinac, but that's the island, Mackinac Island with the AC. Mackinac with the AW is the mainland, Mackinac City, and that was a way that they helped the postal carriers. And my daughters, oh hi.
Hi, how's it going?
Say hi to YouTube.
Yeah, oh, hi YouTube. We're on live on beautiful Mackinac Island, and we'd love to see you come over here and take a tour.
Absolutely. It's the most magical place on earth.
It is. It is.
Most magical place on
We're
earth.
even more magical than Disney. We
100%.
try to make dreams come true.
100%. I fully agree with that. Here comes our chariot. Oh, look at the horses now. These are not little horses. Look at those hooves. There's our chariot. Our chariot awaits.
It's on the sign, that's why I like it so much. But yeah, so that's the Grand Hotel. It was originally built with 180 rooms and the world's longest covered front porch at 660 feet. It was built back in the 1800s, the late 1880s to be specific. Do I have any guesses on how long it took them to build it? Okay, who studied? Yes, that's correct. It took them 93 days to build the original Grand Hotel. Quite a feat. So the story behind that is it was built by two railroad companies and a ferry tycoon. Really wanted to promote tourism to the island through their means of transportation. So they went around telling all of these people, they were like, guys, we got this big hotel on Mackinac, you gotta come stay, it's super cool. And obviously they were very persuasive because they booked all the rooms for that summer. The only issue was, there was not a hotel yet. Yeah, might cause some issues. So what they did is they brought the workers over here and they said, guys, we have a real strict deadline you gotta meet. You gotta finish this in 90 days. But if you can do it before then, we'll give you $1 million bonus. Yeah. Now $1 million is a lot of money. $1 million in 1887 was a lot more money. Yeah. So the workers, naturally, they got to working. And around day 85, it looked like they were well on their way to getting it done. However, on that 85th day, one of the workers overheard the bosses talking amongst themselves, and the bosses were just planning to keep all the $1 million for themselves and weren't going to split it with the workers. This made the workers really angry, rightfully so. So they decided, we can't get the money, you can't either. So they pushed construction, they kind of stalled it a little bit, made it go 3 days over so that nobody would get any of the $1 million. And so it was July 10th of 1887 that the Grand Hotel opened its doors. Very quiet, very peaceful. We have a lot more time to ask questions. A lot more just time where we can sit and chat with each other as a less point of interest. So folks, feel free to ask anything you'd like. You can ask about the horses, the island, your tour guide's personal life. I'm not picky. So this is all state park. About 83% of the island is state park. Mackinac Island was Michigan's first park, but before that, it was a national park. It was a national park for 20 years, from 1875 to 1895. Now, folks, you might notice where we're headed. Yeah, fun time. Here on our right, we have St. Anne's Catholic Cemetery. Yeah. So St. Anne's, fun fact for you, it used to be downtown back in the early 1800s, right where the Twilight and the Windsor are now. That's where the cemetery was. Smack dab in the center in the middle of Main Street. And it would have been the first thing you saw when you got off the boat. They thought to themselves, you know, probably not the nicest thing to see, so they opted to move it. And what they did is they dug up all the caskets, wrote the names on them with chalk, and then brought the headstones up a couple days later. But if you know anything about chalk, it does not do well in the rain. So by the time they got all the headstones up, they had no idea who was who. It was like a big game of Where's Waldo, pretty much. Once they got all the headstones up here, they started mixing and matching them. They realized they had 3 extra headstones. Yeah. It's not like they just made too many. Like they left 3 people downtown somewhere. That is St. Anne's for you. It is a very beautiful cemetery. Tourism is not the only reason they opted to move the cemeteries. Another part of it is there's significantly less foot traffic back here. But 80% of people who come to Mackinac never leave the downtown area, and also more space. Now here on the left we have the Protestant cemetery. We do have to keep the Catholics and the Protestants separate here. They do not play nice. This here is Skull Cave. Now it is a tad disappointing. You kind of expect it to look like a skull. Or a cave. Doesn't really look like either of them. Yeah, I'm aware. Look at all the steam coming off. It's like a sauna. Never looked like a skull. But it used to look a lot more like a cave. Back in the 60s, actually, you could have fit this in, like 2 of these entire carriages inside a skull cave. It's pretty big. But around that same time, they learned it was going to collapse in on itself. That's posing a big safety issue because a lot of people at the time like to sneak inside a skull cave. Here on our left, we have rifle range. That's where the soldiers at Fort Mackinac used to come and practice their shooting. Then if you look straight up on the hill, you'll see that big wood building. That is Fort Holmes. Yeah, originally built by the British during the War of 1812. Fun fact for you, it's built on the highest point of the island. And another fun fact, it's burned down 3 times because of it. Kept getting struck by lightning.
Oh.
Yeah. And then that is Fort Mackinac. Originally built, early parts of it, originally built by the French in 1715, over 300 years ago. But then the British took it from the French, we took it from the British took it back for a little bit, and then we took it back again. But I will say it has been ours for the past 211 years now. Really the only thing we have to worry about these days is like the Canadians. I've had a lot of them here lately. It's kind of concerning. Suspicious.
They're harmless.
Not the geese.
No. All right, so we went on the carriage tour and we had the carriage drop us off at the Grand Hotel. Now the Grand Hotel opened up in 1887, and like she said in the tour, it was built in just under 90 days. But this is just an icon of Mackinac Island, and you can see the bridge over there in the distance. Now we will be paying, you do have to pay to go onto the porch, which I definitely am going to do that. It's quite expensive to spend the night here. I want to say that on average, rooms start $300 to $500 a night. Probably a little bit more during peak season. This is the world's largest porch hotel, and it's overlooking Lake Michigan and the Mackinac Bridge. There is a great ice cream parlor here, Sadie's Ice Cream Parlor, but we're gonna take a step in to the Grand Hotel. There's also some great restaurants, quite expensive, but you can see the governor's mansion there. It's so beautiful here. The Grand Hotel opened on July 10th, 1887. Was built by Grand Rapids in Indiana and the Michigan Central Railroads and the Detroit and Cleveland Navigation Company through the efforts of Senator Francis B. Stockbridge. It is built of Michigan white pine with its magnificent colonial porch, longest in the world. It is a classic example of gracious living seldom seen today. One of the outstanding landmarks on the Great Lakes. It is the world's largest summer hotel. This is also on the National Historic Register of Places, and it was also the hotel that was in the iconic movie Somewhere in Time, starring Christopher Reeve and Jane Seymour. I highly recommend watching that. So we are going to go in. We're going to take a little, you have to pay to get in, and we're going to do a little tour. We're going to go sit on the porch itself and take in these fantastic views. So like I said, the $10 paid for us to go into the Grand Hotel. And if you eat lunch or if you eat in the restaurant, then your admittance into the Grand Hotel and on the grounds will be deducted from your bill. Oh, and here is the Somewhere in Time. Oh, and there is his hat. This hat was worn by Christopher Reeve in the 1980 film Somewhere in Time. There's his autograph, Christopher Reeve and Jane Seymour. That was the only time a car was allowed on the island, was during the filming of Somewhere in Time. Oh, and there she is. This was the picture in the movie that made him kind of have those memories of her in his past life. It's such a romantic movie. Come Back to Me. So this was, I know a lot of us like modern day people really know about Somewhere in Time, and we think that that was the movie that kind of really made the Grand Hotel kind of known, but actually it was This Time for Keeps. So this is an Esther Williams movie. And if you know Esther Williams, she was famous for her swimming scenes and the pool scenes as like a synchronized swimming. But this is kind of the one that really kind of put Mackinac Island on the map. I guess it just depends on who you ask, but oh look, we got Jimmy Durante right there. Can you tell us Jimmy Durante? Oh wow. Governor Kelly, Esther Williams right there. She was just gorgeous. She does not get enough credit. And I know that every year they do a Somewhere in Time weekend, and people do come and they dress in period 1912 clothing. I think it would be neat to be a guest during that time just to kind of see the people all dressed up. But yeah, they got like a little free music. Well, it's not necessarily free. You got to pay the $10 to go in the fall when you're visiting. So here is the main lobby of the Grand Hotel. Isn't this gorgeous? All the Tiffany light fixtures down there. And all the little seats. They're so low to the ground. This is the main entrance, the main staircase when you walk in and check in. There's a lot of antiques here in the lobby. The Planter Hotel Company. This original dinner plate preserved and generously given to the Grand Hotel by Stella King RN, our island neighbor and friend. One of the original dinner plates. Beautiful antiques. These candelabras, Liberace would be proud. And over here there's a little selection of Grand Hotel kind of memorabilia in this cabinet right here. Some of the menus. Puree of green split pea. The lunch menu and some of the restaurant ware. Oh my goodness, look at him. I'd love to have that little guy. And there is Arch Rock. Now we're going to be able to see Arch Rock from the ground because it is currently closed for the season. They're building kind of a nature center up there. Oh my gosh, look at that plate. Mackinac Island and Michigan Resorts. Sorry, the glare. Victorian tourists in their finery on the porch. So if you do watch the movie Somewhere in Time, you'll notice that a lot of this carpeting and the fixtures and the light is all the same. They actually changed a lot. This in the movie, this was where they filmed, where the front desks were. Let's go out to the porch. Oh my mercy. Oh my mercy. Look at the ceiling. Beautiful views of Lake Michigan. This is the world's largest hotel porch. There's Emma and Colin. And the geraniums, which is kind of the Grand Hotel's signature flower. It is a warm day. You can see off in the distance there is Round Island Lighthouse. There's islands around Mackinac Island that are uninhabited, Round Island being one of them. And then over here in the distance you can see the mighty Mac. Boop. Hanging out, sitting in a rocking chair in the most beautiful, I mean, forget going to like Fiji, Netherlands, you know, all these touristy destinations in the world. You just give me Mackinac Island. That's all I need. I mean, let me just show you. Okay. Come on now. And the thing of it is, it's going to be in the 80s today, and when you're going around the coast, The breeze, it's perfect. You don't even break a sweat. It's gorgeous. Down there is the pool. They have a beautiful pool, beautiful grounds. This is all I need. This is it. So this little area, which is just on the side of the Grand, is a memorial garden. Now again, we're here in October, so we've got little peppers. I think those are peppers. Yeah, those are little peppers. Look at that little Mackinac Island pepper right there. I was gonna see what this sign said. Pierce Edward Cunningham Jr. Memorial Garden. This garden is lovingly dedicated to the memory of those that have gone before us with gratitude and joy. Life doesn't have to be perfect to be precious. None of us lives to perfection, but every one of us is precious. And every one of us is loved and is lovable. And just consider how deeply loved were those we remember today and how they loved. James Arthur Kelsey, 1952 to 2007. Well, that's really beautiful, really. It's such a beautiful place. Well, thank you, James Arthur Kelly, for those beautiful words and for dedicating this beautiful garden. We're just going to listen for a moment, okay? Just listen. Oh, we got some horses. Got a little bit of a traffic jam here. And those Victorian homes just follow up the hill there. All those Victorian homes. A lot of them are bed and breakfasts. A lot of you probably aren't geeking out as much as I am, but this place is the most precious place to meet in the world. And I'm so blessed to be here right now. I'm just so excited. I love it so much. This is the Cupola bar. Look at that chandelier. But look at that view. There's the pool. There's some kids down there playing cornhole. There's croquet. I think we might give that a spin. So it's almost a very circus tenty in here. Nice. Walking down the hill to eat lunch, and all of these trees, I believe that these are pear trees. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm thinking. They are just getting ready to turn color. I think next week is peak season for the leaves here on the island, but it's a downhill walk, so it's much better when you're riding your carriage to have the carriage driver drop you off at the Grand and then walk downhill back to Main Street. This is the Little Stone Church. It is on one of Michigan's historic places. A lot of weddings happen in this church. It was established in 1900 by 11 charter members. Local residents and summer visitors donated funds for its construction. The cornerstones were laid on August 2nd, 1904. And they said that a lot of the limestone was quarried here on the island. A lot of weddings happen in here, and all of the windows are made by Tiffany Company. And you can see they built a golf course right here, and on the other side of the church they've covered the windows in plexiglass because of the golf course. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? And all of the windows made by Tiffany and Company. Isn't this beautiful? It's so quiet and peaceful. And the window above the door with the lilacs. That's beautiful. So we are having lunch at the Pink Pony, which is an iconic place here on the island. And I think Mark is going to get the fish tacos, and I'm going to get the prime rib French dip. Okay, so I got the French dip. It's thinly sliced prime rib with the juice, homemade pickle, or homemade chips and pickle. Mark got fish tacos, white fish tacos. We just ate lunch at Pink Pony, and we're getting ready to get on bikes to ride bikes around the island. It's a beautiful day here on Mackinac Island. It's October 2nd. It's like this is just perfect. The weather is perfect. There isn't a ton of people, so it honestly is the perfect day. All right, we have bicycled to Arch Rock. Now, back in Victorian period, they used to let people, you could climb on the top of that, but not anymore. So right now it's closed. They are building a nature center, and just the time of the year you can't get to the top of it. You can see it from the road. But just to give you a little bit of reference point, here is the lake. And normally you can take a carriage ride all the way. You can kind of see where those people are. Right there. But it's one of my favorite places here on the island. Okay, taking a little break along the shoreline here. Looks like we've got some things washed up. Looks like a fire hydrant. This big hunk of metal. I wonder if that's from a boat. From a shipwreck. Look at how pretty. It's just beautiful. It's a very leisurely bike ride too. There's no hills if you stay along the perimeter of the island. If you go in the middle of the island is when you're going to get into some pretty steep hills. So we just stopped at this little place here to take a rest. And what happened, Emma? Colin asked Emma to marry him. And she said yes, by the way. Yay! No, I said no. Right here on the island, in our favorite place in the whole wide world, Mackinac Island. It's beautiful. Hands are shaking. So this tree right here was in the movie Somewhere in Time, and Christopher Reeve's character kind of saw her walking, and then they kind of had a little moment here in this tree. And I will post a picture. When I was a little girl, my mom and I posed on this tree, and then I don't know how many years later, when I was here with my daughter, we posed on the tree. We should probably recreate it again. Oh, she's shaking her head no. But you can see they used to not have a plaque here, but they do now. Is it you? At this site on June 27th, 1912, Richard Collier found Elise McKenna, and that was their character names in the movie. This is where they first had their little moment. Highly recommend the movie, by the way. Especially watch it before you come to the island. It makes things make a little bit more sense. All right, so it's about 7 o'clock on the island here, and there's hardly anybody here. I'm telling you what, if you're brave enough to risk the weather, this is the time of year to go. Normally there's just wall-to-wall people in the summertime. This is lovely. I got a shirt. I got some fudge. You got to get some fudge when you're in Mackinac. And I got some on the mainland, but I also wanted to get some of Ripa's fudge on Mackinac Island. So, yum, yum, yum. So this is Fort Mackinac, and there is a fort on the mainland as well. It's Fort Michilimackinac, and they moved Fort Mackinac here in, I believe it was 1770. Oh, I'll put the date on the screen. But they moved it here because the one on the mainland was too vulnerable. So they moved it here so they could have a better view of who was coming to get them. And then there's actually another fort here on the island. That fort has actually burned down 3 times. They did finally put lightning rods to prevent that from happening. But this fort was taken over by the Americans in, I think, 1796. And again, I'm going to put the correct date in on the screen. But we've been into the fort. It's really, really nice. They have a lot of reenactments, and then I think during the season, like every hour or every other hour, they do cannon fires. They used to be much louder. We've heard them a couple times today. They used to be much louder than what they are now, but they have reenactors that do a lot of they do like a firing line, and they show how the guns worked, and they have like people that are interpreters. So it's really, really nice, and it isn't that expensive to get in. We just didn't have time to do it today, but it is right. This right here is Father Marquette. This is Marquette Park. But this is a great point in Mackinac. People just kind of sit, have little picnics, look out at the water, which is what we're doing right now. Our day's almost coming to an end, which makes me a little sad because I love this place so much. I don't want to leave. Hi, sea guns. Oh, I call seagulls sea guns, by the way. I might have said that a couple times. I've called them sea guns since I was a child, and it's just kind of stuck. They're used to people feeding them food. People call them land pigeons, sea pigeons. I'm very sad that we're leaving. It makes me want to cry. But something exciting happened while we were here. Emma, what happened? This is my daughter, Emma. She got engaged here today on the island. So that makes Mackinac Island for us even more magical and special. So her now fiance proposed to her over near Arch Rock. So it makes Mackinac Island just that much more magical. So now we have a wedding to plan. And don't think I didn't get a brochure about having a wedding on Mackinac Island, because I did. Anyway, thank you guys so much for going with me today. I hope that I conveyed as much as I can the magic of this place. And if you're ever able to come to Mackinac Island, do. It's so magical. And I'm telling you what, in the fall, at the end of the season, the weather can be a little iffy. We lucked out on the weather today, but this was perfect. It was an absolute perfect day here on the island. It's just beautiful. So thanks for spending the day with me, guys. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. I don't do these travel vlogs very often because I don't get to travel very often, but I'm hoping to travel a little bit more. Thank you guys so much for spending the day with me in my favorite place on the planet, and that's Mackinac Island. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.